Franklin Isong, who is the State Coordinator, Center for Human Rights and Accountability Network, CHRAN, here in the Akwa Ibom State. Well, he's still with us right here as we delve into the second part of this discussion. Welcome back, Franklin. Let's narrow the discussion down of the Naira redesign policy. So much so that comparisons have been made with the COVID-19 pandemic and what residents and citizens in the state had to go through when we had a lockdown affected nationwide, like it was basically done across different parts of the world. Your organization, CHRAN, has urged the Akwa Ibom state government to begin a distribution of palliatives to residents in the state to cushion the effect of this policy and the hardship funds from the Akwa Ibom state government to that effect.
First, I want to commend the government of Akwa Ibom State, particularly the governor, for the peaceful nature that the peace we are enjoying in the state and the peaceful nature of the governor we used to have in the state, and this is because of the disposition of the governor of the state. I want to say that the crisis that we are facing today is biting hard to the vulnerable, particularly. Yesterday, when I was going around the banks to do to survey activities in the bank premises, I saw the aged ones, I saw the vulnerables, I saw people that should be in the hospital, coming to lie down at the premises of the bank just because they need to get need for the government to also, come into the aid of giving medical attention, because I can tell you that the situation is very worrisome in the hinterland. Now, this is the urban. You may not have such, difficulty the fishing port and the farm communities. I tell you, it is more difficult than what you think. So the Center for Human Rights think that in line with Section 14 of our Constitution, which has placed the welfare and security of citizens of the states and of the country in the hands of the governors and in the hands of the government, that is to give out palliative to the vulnerable and also medical attention to the ones, to the sick, and to the ones who need medical attention, because people are actually dying in silence. I commend the youth of Akwa Ibom State for not, taking the law into their arms, for not going on rampage. I think that if the government come to the aid of the people and give out palliatives, it will go a long way to ameliorate the suffering that we are passing through. Well, now, having said this, okay, like I said before, okay.
Yes, I don't know if your appeal is coming a little too late, because as of Friday last week, we were inundated with confirmed reports that some youths set ablaze 3 commercial banks in Oron local government area precisely. The state police PRO, Diko McDon, confirmed the arrest of 15 persons, has already taken its toll on the people of the state. If some youths could go as far as burning down 3 commercial banks. So I want to say it's about time the state government upped the ante by being proactive to ensure such incidents do not repeat itself again.
Are not available to Nigerians. You don't have fear. For the past 1 year, we've been struggling with the fuel scarcity, and so these two scarcity variables, Naira and the fuel, has imposed untold hardship. And so our appeal is not late. If the unfortunate incident that happened in Oro of the youth, but I'm not supporting it. I'm condemning that completely. I condemn such incident, and I believe that it is not in the culture, it is not in the attitude of the people of Akwa Ibom State to take their anger to police facilities and to wale banks. Because I know that the central bank governor, because when you go to the bank will tell you we don't have money, and the CBN governor keep telling us, keep addressing press conferences, keep giving us stories that bonds have been sent to the banks. So where is the money then? So I think that the CBN governor is, like I have said before, is the one that is convening these attacks against banks and the bank officials. The CBN should note that the attack on the bank officials, the attack on banks and other public facilities is condemnable. I appeal to the state governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udo Emmanuel, to come to the aid of the people of the state by giving out palliatives to the vulnerable and then medical attention to the needy. I can tell you that even in some hospitals, you cannot get drugs if you don't have cash, because they don't have the aid being debited, and you don't have this money being paid to the person that you are transferred to. Yesterday, while going around the banks, I think in 3 banks, I met people who spoke to me and said that they did various transfer. They went to some sessions where they got fuel, and they transferred to them because they don't accept. They want cash or transfer. So the person now, they don't have cash. He opted to transfer, and he transferred to the filling station, and the money didn't drop, and it was debited. He was forced to make 2 more transfers. Then out of the 2 transfers, only one, went successful. The other 2, he had been debited. So he now went to the bank, and the bank now told him, fill a form, and that in the next 1 month, 30 days, you get your money refunded. So this keep happening. He went to purchase items in one of the supermarkets, and he was debited. But the transaction shows decline, but he was debited, and he did it more than twice because he didn't have cash to pay for the items. And in the 3 instances, he was also debited, and none of which was successful. He had to now left the item there, and then when you keep having these issues of the bank app being malfunctioning, the ATM card malfunctioning, you don't have the cash. So how do you not survive? So this is why there is need for the government to use its good assist in medical attention. This will go a long way to uplift the lives of the vulnerable who are already in a precarious situation in the state.
Well, Franklin, you would agree that the COVID-19 pandemic may in some ways have been how palliatives were distributed by the Akwa Ibom state government through the COVID-19 enforcement team that was set up at the height of the pandemic. And some would say it was totally flawed. Because a good number of persons did not have access to these palliatives, whether it was money or food that were distributed. So who's to say that should the state government initiate another policy in this regard to distribute palliatives to people, would have the same situation we had during the height of COVID, when those who were saddled with the responsibility of distributing these palliatives were simply hoarding them for their benefit and those of their friends and families?
Yes, I remember leading a protest against the manner in which the palliatives were distributed in Akwa Ibom State. I came up with a committee. It was made up of politicians, and those politicians saw it as an opportunity to use those items to empower the life of their followers and their party men and women in their various wards. The committee was made up of political party chairmen, the religious leaders, party chairman, that is the PDP chairman in the case of Akwa Ibom. You have the royal fathers who were also part of it. Now all these people got these materials and they simply use it as they saw it as a manner from the government of their party, and they use it to empower and touch the life of only their own followers and only those who are carry members. A particular local government, you must have the party card before you are given the palliative. And what was the palliative? Maybe one indomie, and maybe they cut a tube of they cut it into 3. That was what was shared against what was given by the government. Bags of rice that we are giving out, bags of beans, gari, nobody saw it. Calling on the governor to disband the committee and setting up a committee that is made up of the civil society group, the media, and the non-partisan people, you call it the NGOs and CSOs. Because when you have a committee made up of party men, the already first thing is that it is our party team, and they have to empower their party people. In the stand of CHRAN, that the government should give out palliative to the people to the vulnerables and the less privileged, and the medical assistance to those who are suffering, to people who are suffering because of this the Naira and the fuel scarcity, our appeal be a committee made up of the civil society groups, made up of the press, made up of the religious leaders, and the security agencies. No party person should be part of the committee. I can tell you that when you include this, when you involve himself being published in the media, haven't seen that the press is involved. The society group are also involved. The security agencies are involved. But when you bring in party men, the program is already a failure, ab initio, because the party men will see it as a way to go and share. They will tell you, you must vote for our party and get this, and that could be, another way of vote buying. So, but if the government bring it and hand it over to people who are non-partisan, like the society groups, the security agencies, the media, and other NGOs, you will not see any.
Let's talk now about the position of the Akwa Ibom State government and perhaps Governor Demi Manuel himself in the face of the Naira redesign policy. Throughout the impasse that has been occasioned by this development, we've seen some state governments take some level of action, whether or not it's 9 governors on the platform of the APC and now part of a joint suit challenging this policy at the Supreme Court. Some governors haven't joined the suit, but have openly come out to criticize it. The likes of Nyesom Wike, who haven't joined the suit formally, but have actually had a thing or two to say about whether or not they would comply with the federal government and the CBN's directive or not. Well, the same cannot be said for Akwa Ibom State. It looks like Governor Emmanuel has basically kept mum in the course of people. Yes, we're not saying the governor is going to bring in money into the state, but he hasn't said or had a thing or two to say about the entire policy, whether or not he supports it or whether he's kicking against it. And a lot of Akwa Ibom...
Governor, I'm not a government person. I'm not in the government. I'm not his aide, not a spokesperson. I have never been in government throughout my life. I have always been on the side of the people. That is why I'm making the call that the government should give palliative to the citizens of the state. As to why the government is keeping mum, I cannot actually say. If I want to get much more than us, because that is his sector where he came out from, and so perhaps there are more than the governor knew that we don't know, that I don't know. So he is not coming out to speak. He has his reasons, and I think perhaps he engaging them to ensure that they also, interface with banks to ensure that the monies given to the banks in the states are distributed without them holding it. One of our meetings with one of the security chiefs, canvassing that more funds be given to the banks in the state using his contact. So that's what the security chiefs told CHRAN in one of our engagement, that the governor, in their presence, had made several efforts and had been able to reach out to the bank CEOs outside the state, calling on them to send more money to the state using his contact. What the security chiefs told us. I will leave the rest for the spokesperson of the government to tell us why the government is silent over the issue.
Okay, on the last line now, the elections are 4 days away. I'd like to ascertain your thoughts on your idea of the Naira would affect voter turnout. You've been following the lead up to these elections in terms of the preparedness level of the electoral umpire, INEC, the activities of political parties and their candidates, and the body language of Nigerians in the lead up to the polls. So just sum it up for us quickly. What are your expectations from the Saturday, 25th February elections? And of course, importantly, what role what role would CHRAN be playing as well, in from CHRAN as an organization as well?
First, let me add that CHRAN is going to be monitoring the election. INEC cannot set exam, be the examiner, and come out and score itself. We are going to appraise the election. We are following activities. We are monitoring the INEC activities. We are monitoring the political party activities. We are also going to have a seminar where we will be able to interface with all stakeholders, and then where we will also put our own is to have a free, fair, and credible election in Akwa Ibom State. The reason is that we have passed through a lot in the past years. We've had pre and post-election violence in Akwa Ibom State, where lives have. We have always urged politicians to eschew the use of hate speech, to campaign based on their issues, to sell their manifestos and their blueprint. They should engage the voters and tell the voters the action we have. You could also record that the CHRAN had met with the DSS. We have met with the police, which is the leading security arm of the state, and we have told them that there is need for the security agencies to be neutral. And the police in Akwa Ibom State has assured the CHRAN that police in Akwa Ibom State will be neutral throughout the process and the outcome of the election. And this is what we're going to get to the issue of the INEC. Of course, we are also policing INEC. We are the ones that will rate INEC performance at the end of the day, because INEC is the examiner. So we will score INEC at the end of the day. And so CHRAN has too much of activity still in our hands, and we pray God to give us the strength and the resources to go through it. Now, on what we expect from the election, we expect a country that is governed by those who believe in the principle of rule of law, a country that is governed by those who understand the nitty-gritty of governance, by those who understand the effects of bad leadership that we have passed through, and they have come to make a change for good, not change for bad. By those who will lead Nigeria. I have never seen a country where where you will buy your own currency with your own money. And this had never happened before in the history of Nigeria. Now it's happening that for you to have Naira currency, you have to buy it from those who are holding it. You have to buy it like I think 3 days ago, my wife was going to buy currency for someone, and she bought it. The person said 10,000, you buy 10,000 with 4,000, or you buy 10,000 with 3,500. And this has never happened in the history of Nigeria or any country for that matter. But it's happening now, live. That you could go to buy fuel, you don't have this fuel, you will queue, get to your turn, they will tell you must bring Naira to buy it. You don't have Naira, you have to go by the leadership of the current government. CHRAN is not campaigning for any party. Can't expect all the parties to campaign. Can't expect that the voters will go out there and vote their consciences. I know who I will vote, and I know who I will not vote for. And it's left for me and my God. I know who I will not vote for, and I can never vote for, because I expect a good Nigeria. I expect a better government that will understand, that will come up, and from day one, you begin to put up things that will give you a smooth takeoff of governance. That is what I believe. Not a government that will come on board and begin to witch hunt the past government and begin to government looking for ways to shut down, the unit of media. You go and you attack the social media, you attack Facebook, attack Twitter, you try to shut down where people can have, avenues to this dance. It's a collective duty of everyone, both the citizens and the governed, and those who are opportune to lead. And so you are only there to represent us, and so you must come back to engage us in a town hall meeting, engage us in several fora, and that government is already a failure. That is what we are having in this Naira resign policy. Of course, initially I supported it, but the way you see the way it has been poorly implemented, which is why it has failed, because it did not carry along the views of the stakeholders. Even when the government had a meeting with the Council of State, and it was advised, what then do you want? You are using your own idea. How can only one person be right, and over 20 million Nigerians are wrong? This is completely, unacceptable to democracy. So that is what I think. That election of February 25th is going to, redefine this country. We are now in a defining moment. With or without the Naira in your pocket, that we will trek to go out to